Welcome to the first Another Boring Topics State of the Channel video. We started the channel back in the summer of 2017 and had slow and steady growth over the past 6 years. Last year was when the channel finally took off. 2023 was a phenomenal year as the channel blew by the lifetime totals in every category. Subscribers went from 1,300 to over 18,000, with lifetime views skyrocketing from 95,000 to over 1 million. Finally, the watch time soared from 11,000 hours to over 294,000. This growth and the resulting ad revenue allowed us to invest in new equipment like a 15-inch MacBook Air for editing, additional research materials, and professionally designed thumbnails. I'm David, and it's hard to believe that Jonathan and I started this channel almost 7 years ago. Time sure flies when you're making a video once or twice a year. Seriously though, I have enjoyed having this channel as a creative outlet. Sometimes in life, you feel like a sponge taking in all this information, and this channel gives me a chance to share with others. I enjoy researching a wide variety of topics, from aviation to business to military history.
Jonathan here. I've enjoyed studying tech history ever since the late 2000s when I ran across a copy of both Fire in the Valley and Dealers in Lightning in my college library and realized that there was a whole branch of history that I had never thought of before. I read through both books multiple times before I graduated, and those books were some of the first ones I picked up to build my own tech history library. I also really enjoy studying the Soviet economy and the military history of both world wars. I may have a slight book buying addiction, but I can quit any time, I promise.
Hello everyone, I'm Bill and I recently joined the channel in 2023. I've had a love for history since I was a boy, and Roman history has had a special place in my heart. I grew up playing historical city builder games like Caesar 2 and 3, along with Pharaoh, and seeing cities come alive in those periods of time gave me an interest in learning about how those societies worked. I of course also love military history and enjoy following the slap fights that history nerds have on a regular basis about obscure topics. The more history that I read, the more I realize how hilarious or cynical just about anyone can be from any time period. Joining this channel will be a great outlet to share some of these topics with our audience. Also, I have a Corsair One, which I use for video and audio editing, and for gaming occasionally.
Our channel goals for 2024 are pretty simple. 1. Increase our normal video production. Producing a video is a lengthy process, even with the relatively simple editing that we do. Our primary bottleneck really is the research and writing, as opposed to the time required to edit. Editing is definitely a bottleneck of its own, but it's really not the primary one. So what can we do? Well, on the research side of things, there really isn't much that can be done to speed things up. And to be honest, none of us are interested in finding research shortcuts, as that can easily result in a lower quality product. We are investing more money into research materials, but that's unlikely to improve our research speed. Realistically, most of the video production speed improvements we are likely to get are simply going to be due to having Bill on board. Having Bill join us in 2023 allowed us to get 4 major videos out in 2023 instead of 3, due to his ability to not only work on his own video projects, but also pitch in and help out with both audio and video editing wherever needed. That said, all 3 of us have families and careers, so the time any of us can devote to the YouTube channel can easily wax and wane quite a bit. I did say that editing was itself a bottleneck, just not the main one. We are working to mitigate it somewhat in really the only way we can, which is with investing into new hardware that makes us more efficient. In my case, a 2023 M2 15-inch MacBook Air with an upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM has enabled me to be far more productive with my editing as prior to purchasing it in November of 2023, I had to go out to my office shed in order to use my big tower for editing. In David's case, we plan to upgrade his hardware to a system capable of easily running our editor of choice, DaVinci Resolve, something his current laptop lacks the ability to do. And we will, of course, make other hardware upgrades as they make sense. However, it is very unlikely that our pace of video production will increase much, so please just keep that in mind. Our second goal is more YouTube shorts. YouTube is really pushing shorts, and while we are still trying to figure out a viable way of creating them, we do plan to experiment with various shorts this year and see if anything sticks. If we can figure it out, we can then intersperse our long-form videos with at least somewhat more frequent short-form uploads. Thirdly, several more Substack exclusive articles. This is really more specific to me, but I want to step up my writing pace at least a bit. Ideally, I'd like to get at least 4 Substack articles up this year, possibly even 1 or 2 on non-tech history. 4 might not be that many, but it's still twice what I managed in 2023. As of my recording this, the rough edit of Rise of Windows Part 2 is almost done, with only about 6 minutes left to edit. I expect to complete and upload it within the next couple weeks, so it should go up right after this video. Rise of Windows Part 3. The rough draft of the script is done, however, I expect to do extensive editing on it before it's ready for recording. With this entry in the Rise of Windows series, we finally reach the point where Microsoft starts having significant success with Windows, albeit Windows 3.0 is almost always overshadowed by its juggernaut of a successor, Windows 3.1. I don't have a time frame for when the video will be done, but it is at least tentatively planned for 2024. The Rise and Fall of Next, Part 2. This is the next video on my schedule, so long as I can complete the script to my satisfaction, a task that has been much more difficult than I ever expected. I'm currently working on covering the acquisition of Next by Apple, a task which requires looking at 3 CEOs, 3 companies, and setting the acquisition in light of Apple's position at the time.
Sonic vs. Mario is a follow-up video to my earlier video about the rise of Nintendo. The story of how Sonic crashed Mario's party is a fascinating one, and I think you will enjoy it. I am also in the middle of writing a script looking at the Scouring of the Shire from The Lord of the Rings. It's a great chapter that I think sometimes gets overlooked, and I'm excited to dig into it.
I am currently working on a video about the Hitler Diaries, a story about a con man who managed to convince the world that Adolf Hitler kept secret diaries and the multiple people he fooled while making a quick buck, or in his case, Deutschmark.
In conclusion, 2023 was a tremendous year for the channel, and our goal is to make 2024 even better. We are not a content mill, and we do not crank out videos on a fixed schedule, so there is no reason to assume that our releases will continue to be anything other than irregular. Our overriding goal is to produce well-researched content that constantly improves in presentation, with each video being better than the last in some way. Thank you all for watching this oddball channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Now on to 2024.